Welcome to another episode of Pure Gold Finances Without Filter. Like your host, Diane Garcia Gutierrez, I want to start this episode saying thank you to everyone who has been subscribing, liking, sharing, comment. I really appreciate. And if you haven't, please subscribe. It's for free right now, so do it. Today's episode, I bring in with me a special guest. Like most of my guests, if not everyone, she has held so many different key roles in different companies, but I'm gonna let her tell their story. But today, she's a CEO on SKP LLC Consultants, who helps different organizations to strengthen leadership, to change and transform teams.
Yes.
And also how to grow in a way, sustainable way, right? So we're gonna have a talk about leadership, how to transform your teams, and how to thrive through changes. So welcome, Shakira Petit.
Thank you, Diana. It's so good to be here.
I'm so happy to meet you. Finally, it was hard.
Yes.
It was hard.
It's a lot, yeah.
She's a busy woman. She's a CEO. So I'm like, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna let her talk today because this is gonna be a real talk.
Oh, I love it. I'm excited.
I'm just happy because we met just because of life.
Yeah.
And we were part in the same board for an event for Clinic Kids. So
Yes.
shout out to Clinic Kids.
Shout out to Cash.
Which is a non-profit organization that helps kids in the East Coast with wellness, mental health through basketball, which I'm a coach there.
Yes.
She's a member board. So we were like in the same team that day for only girls.
Yes, for only girls.
So it was powerful. It was really powerful.
It was.
So I want to start this episode with the first question that I wanna know, and people wanna know.
Yeah.
Who is Shakira beyond, the titles, beyond the career as a human?
Wow, such a good question.
Right?
And thank you for having me. I'm so glad we connected. So Shakira is, like most people, multidimensional and multifaceted. I am first and foremost a child of God. That's the first thing. The second thing is I am a mother. A very, very proud mother of a 13-year-old son. I am the sister to 4 brothers. I'm the only girl in a very, very interesting household. We grew up in Irvington, New Jersey, which is 5 minutes away from Newark, New Jersey, one of the largest cities in New Jersey. Mm-hmm. I'm the daughter of a single mother who raised me and my brothers herself with the support of course, my grandfather, my uncles, my aunts. But she was probably, and we'll get into this, one of the first people to demonstrate for me what leadership looked like in really serious circumstances, those life-changing circumstances. I am a minister, so I teach and I preach and I go to different organizations talking to leaders about how to move the word of God along so that it's not stuck in one place and people understand the application of the word of God in their lives. I am also an avid reader. I'm a lover of the arts. I am a science fanatic. So my background is in STEM. I have had the privilege of traveling all over the world, teaching STEM concepts to young people. Yeah, I've taught thousands of kids around the world, 6 different continents, just around what it looks like to be a woman, what it looks like to be a woman of color, and what it looks like to be a person moving through STEM, which is rapidly changing, but where the landscape of it is still pretty monotone, right? We have women and people of color still trying to break into areas of STEM. And so one of the things that I was allowed to do in 2008 was travel to Antarctica and teach for about almost 3 months from the ice. And I was the only person of color on that team.
Wow.
I was one of a handful on the continent where we were at the time. And so it represented a breakthrough moment for me. And I think we're going to get to that a little bit later. But that's in a nutshell.
It's crazy when you hear yourself, like you talk about your own story.
Yeah.
It's different. It's kind of, oh my God, so many things that I have done, right?
You don't realize what you've lived.
Until like somebody asks you, because it's not something that we think often.
No.
It's not something that we talk often.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the kind of person who has been talking about me all the time or all the things that you achieve.
Yeah.
But I love to see their face of the people when I talk to them about like, who are you? What have you done? And you hear yourself, and you're like, wow, man.
Yeah. I think it's humbling too at the same time to realize how many phases of life you've been through to get to this moment. And even wrapped in that, you're still evolving, even in the present moment. There are things that were 15 years ago that come back to you now quickly, like, man, I did that already. I learned that lesson. I'm now a better, stronger person for it. But it's the journey that we really don't stop and reflect on enough, because we just move through life really quickly, and we don't give ourselves those times to breathe and take a pause and go, you did that.
Yeah.
Like you actually you didn't just survive.
No.
You did that.
Yes.
And I think if we do more moments like that, you'll find that the parts of you that you thought about when you were young, and they're here. So I didn't dream this when I was younger. I couldn't see who I was going to be. But now I see the next 10 years, the next 15 years. So you begin to evolve and see more of you when you go through that process of discovery.
Totally. I think we are in constant change. Even like a month ago, I wasn't the same person that I am right now.
Yeah. You shouldn't be.
No, you should. And that's the idea.
Yeah.
When sometimes people in social, I use a lot of social media now that I'm on this.
Yeah.
So many people, you have changed. I'm like, that's the idea.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I would be in the same place that I was last year.
Yeah.
I would have been in Chile probably still. But at some point, you talk about your background.
Yeah.
So what was your background?
So my background educationally, I did my bachelor's at Hofstra University, right on Long Island. I did a psychology major and a biology minor because I wanted to be a doctor. I just knew at the ripe old age of 19 that I was supposed to be in an emergency room doing surgery. I'm supposed to be helping people with my hands because it came really easy for me. I just love everything about how the human body is designed and developed. But when I started to go through the process of a post-bac after I had graduated to figure out which medical school and which tests you need to take, what's the training like, I was really in that place of self-discovery. And at 19 and 20, you are still trying to figure it out. You do not know who you are at 19. You don't know who you are at 37. At 38, you're still trying to figure it out.
Totally.
And you've evolved into something that will change again, right? So at 19 and 20, I was like, that's it. Medicine is the thing for me. I've got this great degree, this exciting moment. And can I tell you what inspired the medical pursuit? I had incredible female professors at Hofstra that opened the door for me and did not let me give up when it got hard. And because I saw them do it, it became it was just like a fire that was lit. And I remember one particular professor, her name was Maureen Krause. I will never forget her in life. She taught a molecular biology class pregnant and did not blink.
Wow.
And went full term and made sure we had a final, we had all of our stuff together. I was like, if she can carry and teach all of these classes pregnant, surely I can get here on time. Surely I can do the things she's asking me to do.
Yeah.
But she actually took me under her wing and she allowed me to work with her in the lab. And we were doing genetic sequencing and cloning, believe it or not, when it wasn't a big thing yet. So she allowed me to work on one of her research projects around genetic sequencing and cloning. And when I saw the access that I was being given behind the scenes in that lab, but I only saw a me. I didn't see any other women of color, and I didn't see many people of color. I was like, so there's something here. And I had another professor. She taught a genetics class at 8 o'clock in the morning, which was a tough class to get to, but I never regretted it because the class was so impactful on your identity is written in the genes. Okay. It's written in your genetics. And so when I saw these two women, I was like, that's it. I'm supposed to be a doctor. And when I started to apply for post-bac programs, I did what I thought was a short run as a substitute teacher in Newark, New Jersey. And I said, I'll go in here, I'll teach for a little bit while I'm working my way through medical school. But then something life-changing happened. When I got into the classroom and I started teaching all of these amazing children, this was the largest middle school in Newark, New Jersey, over 1,200 kids, all backgrounds, shapes, colors, and sizes. It was the most diverse school they had at the time. I absolutely fell in love with teaching. And I was like, what am I going to do? Because I'm like, no, be a doctor. Yeah. But when you find your identity, and I did, it grabbed me and never let me go. And it was not something I could explain readily. It was more of a spiritual decision than a natural decision. Because when I walked into a classroom, I was like a duck to water, but wasn't formally trained yet. But I knew what I was doing. And so when I walked in as a substitute teacher and they invited me to come back, I think within 2 weeks, and said, do you want to stay here permanently? And I'm like, no, I want to be a doctor. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to work in a hospital. They were like, but you're really good with these kids. Yeah. And so I ended up staying through the rest of the year. And what I did not know at the time, and this is how life-changing events find you, the day that I walked into the school as a substitute, the woman I replaced permanently retired and walked out. So the seat that was supposed to be for me was vacated when I walked in. And what I would say to you in this conversation is, you never know when your shift is going to happen. So you have to be ready for the shift. And so when that moment found me, I was really oblivious to what the impact was going to be, that the permanent space was now open for me. And so I stepped into the permanent spot. Over the summer, they asked me to go get fully certified, do an alternate route certification to teach 7th grade science. I was like, I know science, but to teach it to middle school, those kids are rough.
Yeah.
And I've done K-12 at this point, but the reason I love middle school is because they are authentic at that age.
Yeah.
You are 12, you are 13, you are trying to figure it out. You are, getting interested in dating, and you're worried about how you look. And this is before social media. Yeah. So everything was about the crew, about the clique, about who was the cool table, right? It was still authentic relationship. But those kids would read an adult in 2.5 seconds. They knew an adult was genuine, and they knew when you were a phony. Okay. And so when I walked in and they gravitated to me, I was like, this is different. Like, there's something here. And so I made a life shift in that moment away from medicine and into education. I stayed there for about a year. I had an incredible time, a great mentor, loved the kids. And then I got this opportunity to go to a conference in New York. And I heard Jeffrey Canada, the former CEO and founder of the Harlem Children's Zone, speaking at a conference. I had never seen a man this charismatic and articulate before speak about education as passionately as he had. And I was so enamored with the school. I was like, I need to find this man. I need to find this school, because if that's the leader, the rest of it has to be amazing. Yeah, sure. And so I reached out and I asked them if they needed any help, and they asked me to come in for an interview, which I did not know. Again, another seat had opened. Went in for the interview. They asked me maybe about a week later to come in and do.
How lives work.
It is, and so there's a flow to life that I'm learning. But it's also about, I have the saying, and I've heard other people say it, is I'd rather stay ready than have to get ready. Yeah. So there are things that you build in yourself, right? Capacity, and you take experiences, and you don't just throw them away. You keep them. You allow them to build your resilience and allow them to build who you are becoming as a person. And when the time is right, those things will come to bear. They will come out. And so it came out in that moment. And they asked me to come and teach. And so I started teaching 6th and 8th grade science. And from there, I moved up the ranks from teaching 6th and 8th grade science, the science lead, assistant principal. I got to, found a middle school underneath that type of leadership. Jeffrey Canada is one of those people that when you hear education, you hear his name. And he did it just for the kids that looked like him. He could have done anything, anywhere, but he did it for kids that looked like him. And I wanted to be under that kind of leadership. And that's where some of my early leadership lessons came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in this moment, I was like, I have like 3 questions.
Yeah.
I held it on my head.
You got to stop me.
I'm so into this. But one of the questions for me was, when you walk into that room, you didn't see any other people of color.
Yeah.
Why do you think that happened? Because people of color don't focus on a study in that kind of field, or they don't have the opportunities to do it?
Oh, that's a good question. I think this is really about exposure. And it's about the people that are already in opening the door and allowing folks that normally would not have the opportunity to walk into the room. So I was at a private university on Long Island, and the labs were full and vibrant, and they needed more students because they were doing such incredible work. The thing that pulled me into it was she saw something in me when I was handing in my projects and handing in my work. And she was like, you need to come and do some work with me because I see something. Yeah. So it's about the people who can honestly say, I see something. Yes. And I want you to become a part of this. Even though you don't look like me, our backgrounds are different. We've come from different places. Our family customs are different. But I still see gifting. Gifting doesn't have color. Talent doesn't have color. Skill doesn't have color, right? It's one of those things that are just pure when you don't taint it. And so it's really about being willing enough to open the door and allow that person to then turn key and open the door for someone else.
Totally. it's not funny, but it's crazy because yesterday, no, Saturday, I was in an event for clinic kids. I was coaching in one of the school in the Bronx.
Yeah.
That was my first experience in the Bronx.
Yeah.
I have been in Boston. What was the other?
Syracuse, Waterbury.
So we had this huge event, amazing event. So one of the kids, he was like fighting with one of my station. We was driven.
Right.
And he was really tall. And he was like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do it. And I was like, Mike, one of the other coaches, keep an eye on the other ones. I'm going to have this one with me.
Yeah.
And I keep pushing him.
Yeah.
At the end of the event, he came to me. He said, thanks, Coach Diane, for not giving up on me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, sometimes you don't have that person in your life. Sometimes you don't have that. Sometimes it's not even your family. Sometimes it's not your parents.
Yeah.
But as always, you have one, a teacher, a friend, someone that you could always remember. You will fight for something.
Yeah.
You will go for it. You will believe in yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm not going to cry. And I was like, yeah, of course. And he hugged me and I hugged him. I was like, this is great. This is something I am discovering myself through this program too.
Yes.
Because it's about like giving back and through something that I love.
Yeah.
And I didn't know until now.
Yeah.
Till now, like a couple of months ago, I was like, oh my God, I'm in this position. Like I'm coaching kids. I'm giving back to the game that gives me and saving me from so many things.
Yeah.
And it gives me so much opportunities.
Yeah.
And you can see they change the impact that you can have in other kids.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because you don't understand that when you're a kid.
No, not at all.
Zero. You're like, okay, thank you, Coach Diane, for. I'm like, this is why I'm here.
Yeah.
But
you do realize you changed his life.
Totally.
And so that one moment with you is the gifting that teachers and the privilege that teachers have all over the world is I get to stand in front of these children 5 days a week, sometimes 10 hours a day for 180 days of school each year. And I get to pour into and impart in you lessons that I've learned in my own life, but also I see you and let me pull that thing out of you, which is why teaching will always be the highest profession for me because there would be no doctors if there were no teachers. There would be no lawyers if there were no teachers. Who would be passing these things along to create the next great whatever if not for a teacher who sees you first? And so we lay the groundwork and the foundation that all of your other great successes will be built upon.
And you spend so much time with them too. Like Monday to Friday. You see sometimes even more than their parents. And that's crazy. Sometimes teachers, they don't realize. Yeah. Like, it's like your coworkers in your job. Yeah. You spend so much time with them. You're like, I have them often. Yeah. But just try to do your best around that time. Because you don't value enough your job or their kids. Some of the people they don't realize they're not present. Yes. And how important it is to be 100%.
Yeah. You can go into any school and any community and I can tell you exactly what's happening in the community by what's happening in the school. So the school's a microcosm of every community that it sits in the midst of, right? So if there's a healthy culture, you see it in the school reflected in the students and the family involvement and how the teachers are talking to, interacting, and caring for the kids. You can see how many activities the community is involved in. What does parent participation look like? And you can also go into a school and see the affect of the children when it's negatively impacted as well. I've run schools where kids are afraid to walk from home to school because of environmental factors. They have to arm themselves in certain ways because I got to get from point A to point B and be safe. And the school is the safest place for me. And so you can look at the health of a community by looking at the school.
No, totally. You were always open to change. Like now that you are like telling me like you are being like here and then you have this opportunity or there's something that you work in yourself to be open to it.
So I had to work to be open to change when I realized that you can only manage and control so much in your life when you recognize that there is something higher than you. So for those of us who have a relationship with God and or, your spiritual base, you recognize that there is a particular identity and path for you. You were born to do something. You did not just become you for the sake of you. Your life has to interact with these other points so that they now become the best and highest version of themselves. And so when I figured out that the path for me was teaching, not because I didn't like medicine anymore, but because there was something about my life's purpose driving me into education. It was not something I had a choice to do. Once I figured out what it was almost like the momentum of it just grabbed me and just took me full force into it.
It's crazy. That's what I'm telling you. And some people call that you're lucky. And for me, it's kind of you got to be prepared.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the opportunities. Because some people have so much opportunities, but they're not ready. They're not prepared enough.
Yeah.
On the other side, some people, they don't have the opportunities because they are not ready for it.
They're not ready.
So when people say, oh my God, you're so lucky, for me, luck doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't believe in luck. I believe in opportunity meeting preparation. And so when you get to the place where you've worked hard enough at a thing and you have put all of the best parts of you into something, it has no choice but to attract the thing that will complement all of the work and diligence that you've done. And so for teaching, it just evolved into, I was talking about this earlier today. When I was asked to step out of the classroom and become a leader of the building, I didn't want to go.
No.
I was in love with my kids. I was head over heels in love with teaching and with my kids. That was the healthiest place for me. What the kids didn't realize is they were as healing to me as I was to them. They took me through some dark times in their lives, but they also ushered me through some dark times in mine. And they didn't even know it. No. They would just come with a smile every morning and say, P, what we doing today? Oh, I got my lab. I did my homework. I found this on the hallway. What do you think? And they would let me teach them anything because they trusted me enough to be that person, right? To answer all the questions. And if I didn't know the answer, I'm going to go find it for you. And so you get into that place where you are literally giving parts of yourself, but you also see the return.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they don't even know how much they can help you.
They don't.
Like I told you, like Saturday, that kid probably was so grateful, but I was even more grateful. I'm like, this moment, this is why I'm here.
Yes.
So I said at the beginning, I'm going to let you tell your story about the different areas that you are been moving around.
Yeah.
So how do you start and now that you are in SKP?
So when I moved out of teaching in Harlem, I moved into managing a school for all special needs children in Westchester. And that was a whole nother experience that turned me completely around in as far as what's the depth of education? What can education do? This was special because these were the children that on paper are not supposed to make it. They had come from some of the hardest places in New York City. They were labeled. They were labeled to the degree where no one thought that they could get a high school diploma. But the goal was to just get them through a program and send them back. No, you're going to get through this with a high school diploma, a certificate, and a college acceptance. That is what we're going to do. And so I had a lot of success at that particular program. And then I was recruited to Democrats for Education Reform, where I became the chief operating officer. And that is a political advocacy organization that helps write legislation, does research, does white papers, does a lot of advocacy in 8 different states around the country, which moves money and legislation on behalf of children who cannot speak for themselves. And so when we go to talk to our senators and our congressmen and legislate on behalf of, these are the policies that are good for our kids. These are the policies that are hurting our children and that are hurting the communities that they live in. We were one of the voices in the nation that would say, this is what we need to do and how we need to stand up for children. So I stayed there for a little under 2 years. The CEO then stepped down and was recruited to one of the largest charter schools in the country to run their network. He then asked me to come alongside him as the chief of staff to support him in building out his leadership team and finalizing some things in his office and getting him into the place where he could just move and do his best work because he is a developing machine. He can go find money anywhere and he gets money for kids. And so around April of this year, I had another life-changing moment where it was like, I've done this for 20 years. I have done the teacher, the substitute, the principal, the deputy superintendent. I've done these things. I think it's time that I spread the net a little bit and help different organizations with 3 key things that I think every healthy organization should have, which is a strong leadership team, the understanding of how to build systems, and also how do you continue to develop the things that drive the organization so that it's sustainable. And so at SKP, I do executive coaching, I do leadership development, and my specialty is turnaround schools, but also organizational development where you find that change management is difficult. And you asked me about change earlier.
Exactly.
The word change in I believe it's the Greek and or the Latin simply means, it just means shift.
Yes.
It doesn't mean something has fallen apart. It doesn't mean that something is now on fire.
No.
It means something has changed. And all change can be good depending on the perspective. One of the things that I like to live by is anything that doesn't grow dies. So if I can't grow past a certain place, something in me dies, whether it's a dream, a vision, how I used to see life. Where's the joy in it? If you can't see the next level, something in you is slowly shriveling up. And so when people think about change management, they get nervous because they're like, well, we like the way things are, but they can't stay the way that they are. Everything around you is changing.
I would like you to have a meeting with one of the owners in the company that I work with. I'm like, man, because it's generational too.
Yes.
Because people as you get older, it's even more difficult to make them change.
Yeah.
And with the technology, AI, hyper connectivity, and all of that, I'm like, man, it's something that we should do here.
Yeah.
And I've been telling me like we should do this and that. I'm like, they're in their comfort zone.
Yes.
And they're ready to retire.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. So how do you deal with people that is kind of reject that change?
Well, you have to unpack why you're rejecting change, because it's not change that you're rejecting.
No.
It's discomfort.
Yes.
You like things the way that they are because they are predictable, and you think that they can be managed easily without you having to do anything different. And what we don't like to do is shake ourselves out of habits that we have developed in one season of our lives. Each person goes through different seasons in their lives. Some seasons are a year, some seasons are 10 years, because you didn't get the point the first 3 or 4 years. So you will repeat the lesson until you get it.
Yeah.
And so when you find folks that have the mentality like you just managed, my job is to unpack what exactly is it that you are unsettled about? Where is the root of fear coming from? And what is it that you think we'll find on the other side that is less advantageous than staying here and doing the same thing? And so what you find is that change is unavoidable. And the tectonic plates under you are shifting all the time. It's just a matter of how you'll respond to it. And so with AI, for example, it's really about not knowing what is it going to do, how is it going to rewrite, how is it, and you also have a lot of people who are putting misinformation out in the space for their own gain.
Yes.
And so you have to get to the root of the issue, but also help that person understand the logical process involved in getting from point A to point B. So I believe in phased in development and change. When you make changes too quickly, too fast, and you have not prepared your team, it will absolutely fall apart. People don't change overnight. Whether it is in social media, if music industry, media, it doesn't matter. People, the nature of man, you don't change overnight. But if you can give it to them in phases and allow them to so at phase 1, we're going to do this. And this is where I'd like your feedback. And this is where I'd like your involvement. And then there's phase 2. Phase 2 is going to look like 3 months. And then there's phase 4. This is going to look like 6. And you give people up front the safety measures they need to mentally wrap themselves around the change. It becomes easier. The other thing that a lot of C-suite folks miss is that you have to get buy-in from your team, particularly your leaders, before you start to move in the way of the change, because it feels like you ran away with a decision and you did not even ask if we saw it the same way, if we felt it the same way, if this is going to be the thing that really drives us into the future. you have to get buyback from the people who have to lift the thing off the ground.
Yeah.
So when you make that top heavy decision, and then when it's slow to roll out,
Yeah.
and then it's pushback, everyone at the top is confused. Well, how
Yes.
did we get to pushback? You never asked the question.
Yes.
You never gave them an open forum to either commit, dissent, or be neutral.
Is how important is communication, like for every area in our life.
Yeah.
Even for company.
Yeah.
For friends.
Yeah.
For couples. Sometimes we fail on the basis.
So in this particular moment in life, I think by and large, a lot of us are failing at communication. Because we're putting things out there that are emotionally based and not factually based. We're spinning perspectives instead of understanding. And so when companies don't go after, let me roll out a strong communication plan before I start to move the pieces, you are asking for dissent and for people to be halfway committed to what it is that you have signed up for. You'll hear people in a company say, I didn't sign up for that. That was your plan. And now you go fix it. Or you have the half-hearted commitment that says, I'm just here because, that's what they told me to do. I have to do my job. But that's not how you move great lengths. No. And that's not how you change landscapes. That's not how you move great visions along. You need the buy-in of the people who are doing the heavy lifting. Totally. I call them the everyday heroes and the mid-warriors. Yeah. Because if I don't have that team under me, undergirding the shift, it's going to fall apart.
Totally.
C-suite has vision, but they can't do it without the arms and the legs of the organization. And we forget that when we get into the C-suite sometimes.
No. I think it's a huge topic because, as I told you, it's not just about the companies. No. It's about a day by day in your life. So what do you think is a common thing that you can see on the leadership in different companies that they do with their teams?
With communication?
Or you know what, in general, because I think, okay, communication is one thing. Yeah. But a common thing that you can see, this mistake, it keeps happening in different companies.
So one of the things that I try to live by is take your time to hire, but be swift with a fire. Only because when you're adding a person to your team, you're not just adding them. You're adding their lived experience, the culture that they bring with them, all of their internal stuff. Whomever they really are on the inside will come out after 30 days, minimum 30 days. And whatever their experiences were in the former company are now coming into your ethos, now coming into your environment. And so when you're adding people to a team, you should do an analysis of, is this person not just a good fit on paper, but will it be a culture fit? Will they be an add to our team where they can bring new ideas, fresh insight, and challenge our way of thinking? One of the things that organizations that are still trying to figure out their evolution is they don't want someone thinking differently at the table. They want everyone to agree. Yeah. You can be in a room with 4 people and not everyone has the same opinion about any one singular thing. I welcome the people that have a different opinion because you've seen something I haven't. You've had an experience that I haven't. One of my best examples of that is when I was at the Westchester School, I was a part of doing the union negotiations, and that is like a heavy and a hard thing to do. And one of the people that I asked to be on the negotiating team for the teachers was the math teacher that gave me the most feedback. And he was known to be hard. He was known to be very direct. And that sometimes he could be a little rude. But his point was that if the kids don't benefit, if we are taking away from the children, we should not do this. So I invited him to the table. Because I knew he would poke holes in everything. And if he saw the hole, it was from a vantage point of a 30-year tenured veteran, not a novice. And he gave me the insight of being a real seasoned leader who loved kids. And he showed me where the flaws were. And what we were trying to move forward. And it was a good plan, but he showed me what I was missing. Totally. And so when you get folks at the table that have differing opinions, that's the sign of a good team.
The problem is some people are so scared to talk. And I see it in the company that I work for too. I'm like, just talk. like I'm usually the one who talks. I don't want to say lucky, but I work directly with one of the owners.
Yeah.
So I know that I have enough trust or
Yeah.
confidence. I will say confidence to say I'm doing my job, but I can tell like we can do some things better.
Yeah.
So I always making suggestion like we can do this, we can do that, and he's open to it. But there's three owners.
Yeah.
So I have one.
Yeah.
What about the other two? I don't have the entire table
Yeah.
on my favor.
Yeah.
But I can see also another members on the team they say so much bullshit behind.
Yeah.
But they don't take action. I'm like, okay, this is the moment that you should talk.
Yeah.
This is the moment like when they send us like this
The memos
questionnaires,
and
memos,
the
questions
surveys.
and all of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, because
No.
at the end of the year, it's like everything is great.
Everything's
This is a
wonderful.
great place to work. I'm like, man, this is the moment to take action.
Yeah.
But people is really scared.
So there's a curriculum that I like to teach when I go into organizations that function that way. And it's called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It's a well-known curriculum. It's been around for a number of years. It's incredibly successful. And it talks about there are 5 major things that will tell you that you have a dysfunctional organization and a dysfunctional team. And you just named 2 of them, fear and mistrust.
Yeah.
And so when you go into an organization where fear is at the root of how we make decisions, but fear is also the reason we don't speak up, you have a bigger problem. This is not about how we close out Q4 with enough revenue. This is about the fact that our people aren't safe enough to say what they need to say, to know that their opinions are valuable and heard, and that we'll consider it as we move forward. And so when you operate in fear, you can't be your full self in that role and bring all of your brilliance because you don't know how it will be received.
Exactly.
And that breeds mistrust. And so when you do get to that C-suite table, which is sometimes, huge oak tables in these big boardrooms and these high, skyscraper buildings, all the luxury.
Yes.
But people are silent and let asinine decisions become law or become the policy when they knew it was riddled with holes. But I can't say anything because my boss will think I'm publicly disagreeing with them. I'm going to get written up. I'm going to be labeled as a troublemaker. I'm not going to be invited into these meetings anymore. You are in a toxic environment.
Yes.
If you are functioning like that, it is not healthy.
Do you think once you're coming into a company
Yeah.
and work in these situations,
Yeah.
do you think it's proportional to make more revenue?
Yes. Oh, there's research that shows that. I should have brought it with me. There's research that tells you you are significantly more productive in a safer environment, a mentally safer environment, because my ideas may not be fully adopted, but they were heard. And I know I have the space to walk and tell my manager or my supervisor, listen, guys, I thought about the problem last night while I was cooking dinner for my kids. And this is what I think we should do. And you have an open forum to at least talk the idea through and perhaps adopt part of it, but not all of it. When you hire people, you hire them to come and be an added value to the organization, not to be a mimic, not to be a puppet, but we diminish people and turn them into yes men and yes women because of fear that they will say something that we don't want to hear.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring this point is because I think it's really important for business owners that I can hear this point. Because, of course, I'm worried about, okay, what am I going to get after this?
Absolutely.
And if you can have an efficient team that is going to make you more money,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
Like, it's plus, plus, plus.
It is, but you are requiring business people to now tap into the parts that are untrained.
Yeah.
The untrained parts are the emotional intelligence, that part of you that you can't go to school and get an MBA in, the part of you that there is no master's in emotional intelligence. You are asking them to go into the part of them that was forged in some type of leadership experience and is secure enough as a leader to take the opposing idea or to add to the unique experience of someone else and give them a stretch project, a stretch goal, etc. That is indicative of the type of leader that you are working for if they don't allow those opportunities to come forward.
And when people work with you, they ask you for those kind of results? Like, are you going to make me make more money?
So that's the byproduct of a healthy team. So when you have an unhealthy team and a toxic work environment, you already know you're not making enough money. You already know you are falling short in production. You're just trying to figure out, is it fire more people and hire brand new ones, which is actually more expensive. When you fire and hire routinely, you are burning through money. The average executive search right now is about $100,000 to find a C-suite person.
Wow.
Just to find the person. And it will take anywhere between 3 to 6 months to fill the seat, sometimes longer. It's cheaper to train the person that's in the seat, upskill them, and give them a mentor than it is to fire and then hire. And there are statistics, and I've done some work on this around when you look to do promotions. Let's say a CEO has to step down and we're looking to fill that space. It's less expensive and more successful to internally promote and give them the support that they need, including a mentor, than it is to go outside and find a new CEO and bring them in and make them now implanted into the organization. That's what Microsoft did. When Microsoft was looking for their new CEO, and that
They're bringing someone from the inside.
they actually went outside and did 3 searches before they found Nadal, and they were from 3 different sectors, had nothing to do with technology. They were just well-known CEOs, and they had gotten them all through to like the final round of interviews, and they all pulled out for one reason or another. And then someone said, "But there's someone here."
Yeah.
At that point, I believe they had 128 senior leaders nationally that they could have chosen from.
Wow.
But there was one who was already a forth thinker in the AI space, in the technology space. He knew the ethos of organization. He was there with the culture. He was there for 20 years. Why wasn't he the first shot?
Yeah.
He should have been first choice.
Right away.
Not number 4. And so we often look outside of ourselves in these organizations because you think it's better out there, as opposed to, am I grooming a pipeline of leaders on the inside that will be ready to take that seat when the opportunity happens? Remember the switches we talked about earlier.
Yes.
I walked in, someone walked out.
Yes.
I walked in, someone walked
yes.
out. And there was a preparation that I learned from those early experiences. And so what I teach organizations is how to build a pipeline of leaders. No one is going to fight harder in that C-suite than someone who knew it from the bottom up. So if I start as an AVP, if I start as a VP, if I start as an SVP, and I'm learning the ethos and the culture, you know what kills organizations faster than revenue? Culture. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. It is one of those things that can tear an organization apart internally when it's toxic and it's unchecked. And so your revenue is suffering because you have a toxic work culture and no one wants to deal with it. You just switch leaders, switch people out and think that's the solve.
So far we've been talking about like toxic organizations.
Yeah.
How can a company be successful?
They will be successful to a degree, but what they will lose is the intellectual property as people leave, because you will always find a revolving door at a toxic organization. No one wants to stay there for more than a year, maybe 2 years, enough to find that other thing, because you shouldn't get agita and butterflies in your stomach the night before you have to go to work.
Yeah.
People shouldn't dread coming into the office in the morning because they don't know what's going to happen, or they don't want to run into that coworker that is just mean and nasty all the time. And so you are actually burning people out and not using them to the fullest degree because you've allowed, and sometimes it only takes one person.
Yeah.
There's just that one person who's miserable, who spreads like a cancer and makes everyone else miserable.
And it's in every company.
Every company, there's at
Every
least
company,
one.
At least.
And if you don't deal with it directly, they will quietly sabotage the talented people who are willing to build your company for you because they believe in the vision and what you've asked them to do. That one person will ruin everything. And if you actually talk to the one person, it's because they're a miserable human. Has nothing to do with the organization. You hired someone who was gifted but broken. And when you don't correct it.
So what will you do if that person who is toxic has been 20 years in a company versus a talented young person who is 100% commitment with the company?
Give me the talented young person in a minute, because they can be trained. They can be upskilled. They can be given stretch assignments. They can be paired with a mentor. And if I give it 3 to 5 years, they will move right up the line in leadership. The 20-year has capped out already, and their attitude is toxic for the organization. And here's the thing. It's not just a toxic person. It's how your team sees you allow the toxic person to move. So if you're allowing that person to talk to their colleagues in a derogatory way, if you're allowing them to write memos that are sarcastic and degrading or very dismissive, you are hurting the culture of your organization. You want people to come to work every day and give you 100%. But why? When you let this person be nasty and dismissive and no one checks them.
Even if that person is one of the top seller in the company?
So
That's a difficult one.
And that's the one that companies struggle with. Is they're a top seller, they're a great performer, but they're nasty for the people part of this organization. So there are three things that I focus on when I go into an organization: people, structure, and systems. People are always first. If I can get to the people, the system and the structure is easy, right? That's just mechanics. That's easy. It's the people that drive the organization. And if I keep changing out people because something is off in the ethos, something is wrong in the culture, I'm always going to be starting over. And I'm never going to reach that peak of efficiency because I didn't figure out what was broken on that lower level.
I 100% agree with you, because I can see, I work with people in personal finances. And I always kind of try to go through the human part first.
Yes.
Like, what are your limiting thoughts?
Yeah.
Why are you bringing from when you were a child?
Yeah.
And then the numbers, they're coming easier.
Yeah.
Because first of all, is what do you think? How do you feel about money?
Yes.
What do you feel? Like, what you will do with this?
Yeah.
What you didn't have?
Yeah.
What you can have now?
Yeah.
So once you have that figured out, the numbers, the structure, the system,
easy.
they came easy.
Yeah. So it's a growth mindset versus a scarcity mindset. So when you're talking to someone who has had lived experiences where scarcity and they are risk averse, they will take that same tact when you see them in the workplace. They will go, no, we can't go that far. We can't purchase that. No, that we need to pad the budget more. And do you want a CFO that has good money sense? Absolutely.
Yeah,
I don't want you to spend $250,000 on something that's going to be gone tomorrow. Absolutely not. But when you ask them to dream big, and swing for the fence, just tell me what it looks like. I ask this question often to leaders: if there were no constraints, what would you do? What would you build if there were no limitations?
Yes.
And then you see people's eyes get big and they go, no limitations? Nope, money's not an issue. What would you do? How would you do this differently? Then you start to unlock another part of them that is no longer afraid. So the thing that people have to get to in leadership is you have to deal with a number of factors that are not easily taught, which is imposter syndrome, the internal fears, the lived experiences that people have had when they come into your organization.
Yeah.
So when you say yes to hiring them and they sign their contract, you're not just getting an accountant. You're getting an accountant with lived experiences who will bring those experiences into the office and into the workplace.
100%.
Yeah.
How deep has been this conversation? This is going to be like almost an hour about this.
Oh my gosh.
I can keep going and going, but I just want to start to saying thank you to our sponsors. So I have a little gift for you, Shakira. So Chili Shade or sunglasses company, who don't forget never, 10% of every sale is going to a nonprofit organization who clean the beach in New York, which we are
amazing.
part and we are going to. So
thank you so much.
this is for you.
Oh my gosh.
You can open and show.
I love gifts.
I mean, the season is not 100% ready for sunglasses.
Are we matching?
Look at that.
Are we matching today? I love it.
I love
I
how
love
you
it.
look on
I
you.
love it. Thank you.
I have a little dynamic for you so we can close. But also, thank you for this beautiful setup to EcoFlow Digital Marketing. So if you want to do your podcast, if you want to create content for your business or your personal brand, please contact us. I'm going to leave all the information here. Shakira, I don't know if you use social media.
I do. I'm on IG. Okay. I am SKP Consultants on IG. I'm not on Facebook at this particular moment. Whole nother issue. But I am on LinkedIn and IG. Yeah.
So I'm going to leave all the social media from Shakira so you can contact her every case that your company needs
Yes.
needs this, because
Yeah.
I think it's a huge help for the big companies. And
Yeah.
even for me, today was
Oh, I appreciate that.
an amazing,
Thank you so
amazing.
much.
And let me ask you a couple of questions, because I have this dynamic with you.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you a couple phrases, and you will give me which one do you choose.
Got it. Okay.
We're gonna go to security or risk.
Security.
Why? I'm like, why?
Only because.
For some moment, it was like I was gonna think like you're gonna say risk.
So I think security is, now we're just talking me now.
Yeah.
So for me, security is one of those things where you have seen all the possibilities.
Yes.
And you've kind of seen what level A looks like, level B looks like. And you're also talking to a systems person.
Yeah.
And so I need to see the frame
You
of
have
the
a
thing. Structure. Yeah. So I'm going to always go back to structure. So I think it's security. Yeah.
Investing in people or in system?
People.
Always people first.
They build great systems.
Long-term planning or fast execution?
Long-term planning.
A small team or big stable structure?
Small team, because you can build them so that they're ready for the larger structure.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Abundance or money?
That's a good one. Abundance. I think abundance carries more value. Money is actually a lower form of transaction when you think about joy, when you think about life purpose, when you think about what the imprint is that you have in the earth. Those things carry more weight and value than money does. And those things come to people, and then they begin to pull money in as well. So money is just an exchange of things. But joy is one of those things that you bring everywhere that you go. It's actually contagious.
Money is just a tool.
It's a tool
You
just
have
to
to
get
use
you
it in your favor.
Yeah, just to get you where you need to go. And hopefully you're using it to spread
Exactly.
joy and the things that really are like the deeper threads of life.
Totally.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Do you have any final message to the people? Anything that we were missing today? I think we went through.
I think we covered a lot. We covered a lot today. I think my final message with regard to particularly around teams is when you have a strong team, when you have a valuable team, that is your greatest asset. It's not your balance sheet. It is your teams. But when you have a fracture in your teams, it will affect your balance sheet. And so let's start treating our teams as the value assets that they are.
I really appreciate this conversation. I think it has a lot of value for workers, for business owners, for leaders. So I'm going to be sharing this as soon as possible. And thank you guys for watching us until the end. I'm going to leave all her social media, my social media, and we're going to be coming for the next week with more guests. So stay tuned for more. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Bye-bye.
Bye.